Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Mary.
Welcome to Chatterbox Box, an F1 podcast.
Box.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chatterbox Box, where Emily and I chat and giggle about all things F1. We have a lot of recent news to cover today, but I am also super excited because we're going to talk about Carlos, our most eligible bachelor, aka driver. And we're going to put him in this pretend little scenario where all of the teams, I think there's 8 teams, are just wooing him and swooning him so that he will be on their team.
Yes, we are so excited to talk about Carlos today. We wanted to switch things up. We were going to do the book club with reading Redeemed by Lauren Asher. And we will still be reading that at the end of the month, but it seems like we're going to have the news of where Carlos is going by the end of the month, if I had to predict. So this felt a little bit more timely. And also, Mary's carrying the team today because I'm riding the struggle bus. I was in Florida this morning and flew back, not doing too great, and didn't finish the book. So we kind of had to pivot, but things happen. It's okay, we're here. So yeah, there's a lot of like fun little giggly news this week, but in more, I guess, official announcement type news, Fernando Alonso has announced that he will be staying on with Aston Martin. And did I interpret this correctly? Is it like an indefinite contract similar to what we get with Charles and Lando?
That's how I was interpreting it too. It seems like he did not want to do a single year contract, like just a single re-signing. And it sounds like he's extremely excited and really is invested in the growth of Aston Martin. I think he's excited about the team that he's currently working with, like the mechanics and the engineers and all of that. So I definitely think it's a multi-year deal, and I'm so excited for him. He is going to be the best rookie around.
Yeah, this is so exciting. Fernando is honestly one of my favorite, like, I want to say characters on the grid. He's just so funny. He really leans into a meme. He's having a good time and he's still driving really well. We talk a lot on this podcast about wanting to make room for new talent in the F1 world, but Fernando Alonso can drive until forever. And I will be happy because I think he's a good driver, but he's also a very entertaining driver. So I'm here for this news. I thought it was really funny how he announced it. He's just like, I'm here to stay. And I'm like, okay, King, period.
It was just iconic. It was simple, but it was very Fernando. And the wink at the end, oh my God. I don't know what it is because I'm not the type of person and I'm not the type of girly to fall for men that wink at me. I think it's a big ick. But every single time an F1 driver winks, I'm like, oh, yes. Like, give
Mhm.
me that winking content. They must go to school for this or something because the way that they
Mhm.
execute it, perfection, chef's kiss.
Men in Formula One are like men in romance books. Like the stuff they do, if anyone else did it in real life, it would be such an ick, but it's so hot when they do it.
Yes.
If someone winked at me just like on the street or like at the bar or something, I would like hide.
I would run away. Throwback to Lance from the red flag in the last race because that typically does not throw me off, but he threw me in for a little whirlwind and I'm still thinking
Oh.
about it.
Honestly, speaking of Lance, I think we need to discuss my growing crush on Lance. I think Mary's getting over it. Like she's like, Emily, stop. But
I'm
I
a little
can't
over
be
it.
stopped. I cannot be stopped. Mary is over it because she was with me at that red flag moment, but she couldn't get past the radio. However, I have blocked the radio out of my mind, and now I'm just like obsessed with Lance Stroll. And I started trying to send Mary all these like little Lance Stroll like boyfriend Pinterest aesthetic photos. Maybe we will insert them in the YouTube version. And she was like, Emily, I'm not fazed by this. All I can think of is the radio. So my current campaign is a become a Lance Stroll fan podcast, but Mary's not on board yet. So bully her in the comments to get her to join me.
Continue to spam us with your Lance Stroll edits and everything. We'll see if I become phased by it, but as of right now, that radio, like that gave me a whole ick. Someone, I think in one of the F1 videos, said that he sounded like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, and I could not unhear it. It just cringe. So I'm over it.
Okay, I could see that. Honestly, Lance has had a lot of really cringe moments, like the time he like shoved his engineer. That was not great. And that radio message, not great. But he did give us that iconic radio message where he was like,
I'm in the fucking wall.
so that, he's really growing on me. And I don't know. Maybe when the listeners see the pictures, they'll agree with me. If you don't agree with me, let us know in the comments. We need to know. Are you team Lance fangirl or are you team Emily shut up?
We'll see.
Okay, I just got so sidetracked from our agenda because I had to talk about my love for Lance. But we also got the 2025 season schedule this week, which is really weird because I am still trying to understand how it's 2024. But we got the 2025 schedule.
I know. I, for some reason, think 2025 is 2 years away. My head is stuck in 2023, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is for next year. I'm so excited for this. There's been a couple of changes. First off, we're going to see Lewis starting off with Ferrari in Australia instead of Bahrain.
I am actually really excited to start in Australia. I know they used to do that. We just weren't around for it.
Yeah.
But it feels very fitting because I feel like everybody loves the Australia race. Like the drivers love it, the fans love it, the energy is up there. It is sad that they are starting 2 weeks into March, and this year we got to start the first week of March. So we're going to have a longer off season, which is going to be a really fun thing for us to think about for this podcast. We're going to have to fill that with even more time. But that is a problem for November, December us, and I am going to put that out of my mind. I am also not thrilled that the first 3 races are going to be late night races, but that's not really much different than now. Like we just get, the 2-day races and then we got 3 night races in a row. So we can do it. It's just rough here on the East Coast of the US with the late night races.
Yeah, and we definitely understand. Is it like our Australian Formula One fans that always get the brunt of the bad times? So in that moment, we feel for you guys, and we are also appreciative that we are not in Australia.
Yeah, I feel like Australia gets it bad, and so do the West Coast US fans, because when we're waking up at 7 to watch the race, they're either staying up till 4 or waking up at 4. So they're doing what we're doing with these night races, like every single race. I would definitely much rather just struggle to wake up at 7 than have to wake up in the middle of the night or to stay up that late. So can't really complain as an East Coast fan, but I certainly would love to be a European fan because I can just imagine it's so fun to watch F1 at like 3 p.m. and just like, make a whole day out of it. It's kind of sad when it's over by 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to get into the vibe of cooking like related foods and having related snacks and drinks. But usually, like, I'm in bed and I'm just like, all right, let's go. And I'm like ready to text you.
Yeah, I love like Two Girls, One Formula post a brunch menu for every single race. And I think that is so cool. And sometimes I will make the food, but a lot of the times the race is at 7 a.m. and I don't really want to be like eating breakfast that early. But I do it sometimes, like for Spain, I did it and stuff like that. But it would definitely be nice to have it at like 3 every time. And then you could probably get more friends into it because they'd be more willing to come over and watch. No one's coming over at 7 a.m. to watch these races with us.
No, no, not at all. But speaking of, do you have a go-to snack outside of like the
Mm.
brunchy type of things?
Outside of like for every race.
Yeah.
I kind of base it on the race. Like, but I might not eat it during the race. But like for Japan, I ordered sushi that day. I didn't eat it during the
Cute.
race because it was like 2 a.m.
Cute. Okay, that's so valid. For me, I love gummy candy, so I'll have
Mm.
like gummy bears, or my most recent obsession is the Haribo twin snakes, and
Mhm.
that is my go-to whenever I'm like tense and I'm like, "Oh my god, is this like a red flag?" And I'll just munch on it.
I
Guilty pleasure.
love to have mimosas during the race, but again, depends on the time. Like a 10 a.m. race, I'll have a mimosa. 7 a.m. race, I'm probably just drinking coffee.
3
Yeah, I might be drinking tequila.
That's right.
We're just giggling today, honestly. The rest of our news is not serious, but it's important. I need to talk about how everybody was serving old money vibes this week. It was like, wow, okay. So George and Carmen were at I think it was the Masters tournament in Monaco. And they were like serving old money vibes. George has on this fabulous, very expensive looking sweater. And
Mhm.
Carmen also has on this very fabulous, expensive looking sweater. And I just continue to be completely fascinated by George Russell because I learned from you that he actually had a humble upbringing and isn't old money, but he just screams old money. And I feel baffled by it all the time.
It is incredible the way he dresses. I think he just looks so posh and well put together that he definitely screams old money. Like him and Carmen, the cutest, most
Hmm.
put together couple. Like it's not that their outfits are like different from your typical capsule kind of outfit. Like it's very like neutral colors, but something about it, like it looks so clean and I don't know, it elegant.
Rich.
Yes. So rich.
We had Mr. Jo Guan Yu. I don't know what this photo shoot was for, but he is in this beautiful suit and he looks so rich. He looks like he could be the Bachelor. Like he looks, I can't even put into words how good this man looks. I thought he could not top other outfits we've seen him in, but it's giving like James Bond. I'm like, whoa, okay, Jo Guan Yu. Like,
Ooh.
whew, everyone was serving old money looks. But then I also got confused because Carlos and Rebecca, his partner, were at the Masters as well, the same one that George and Carmen were at. And Rebecca's in like denim Canadian tuxedo vibe, and Carlos is in a long sleeve polo and just like chill, like white linen pants. And then I was confused because I was like, what's the vibe of this event?
I feel like they're both of the couples are dressed appropriately, but maybe Rebecca's a little bit more out there. I don't think
Mm.
that there's really a theme necessarily, but I personally wouldn't do the jean on jean situation, but Rebecca is killing it. I think it's because she breaks up the jean look with that really crisp shirt as
Mm.
well, and it looks so effortless and free. I don't know. I don't know. Something about it just screams like I am here to watch people play golf.
Yeah, no, that is real. Actually, I think her outfit fits in with George and Carmen, but our man Carlos, I question his fashion sometimes because I'm just like, but I also like it. I feel like it looks like he made an effort. He got on these nice little like white linen pants.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But he definitely looks underdressed compared to her and compared to George and Carmen. So I don't know. This like stood out to me this week. I was like, wow, like what's everybody wearing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit too simple, I think. Maybe if he
Mhm.
accessorized, maybe if he got rid of the hat, I don't know.
It's the hat. It's the hat. Why does he cover his hair? I would never cover that gorgeous head of hair in my life if I was him. You're right. It's the hat. That's what's
It's
throwing
the
me
hat.
off.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
if you get rid of his hat and just have his
Wow.
hair free flowing, No
The
words.
outfit would be elevated. This man should
Yeah.
never cover his hair. I think She Loves F1 refers to his hair as like one of the wonders of the world.
Yes. And I think without his hair is his accessory. Like, can you imagine
Yeah.
Carlos bald? It's no.
Yo, I can because I saw it on TikTok.
Ugh. Nope. Nope.
Someone did edits of
Nope.
all the drivers bald, and
Nope.
that haunts me
Nope.
to this day, and I never want to think about it again.
Gross. No.
I don't like it at all.
Back to joke on you though. I think I can see the James Bond look, but he is giving K-drama vibes, and he is like the rich billionaire going into this arranged marriage, and he's like, all right, I mean, if I must, then I will look my best and meet these eligible bachelorettes to see which one is best suited for me, but we're going to get into a fake marriage situation because I'm not here for it. But he's strolling in and he's buttoning himself up or unbuttoning his tux, and he's like, I'm here. And I'm like, oh, okay. I want to be one of those bachelorettes because our man is so fine.
He is so fine. I am just like, I have no words. Like, I would watch the K drama, I would read the book, I would watch the Bachelor season, I would start watching action movies for this man because, and now I
And
want to
you're,
see a series of like F1 drivers in tuxedos.
oh my gosh, yes. Yes. And I know you're not a K drama fan at all. So you saying that you would watch the K drama, that
Mm.
means a lot.
Well, I watched XO Kitty.
That doesn't that does not count.
I just don't like subtitles because I like to play on my phone while I'm watching TV.
Fair.
I'm like, this is too much thinking for me. But I would watch it for him.
I understand. I would too.
Speaking of people I would absolutely die for and do anything for, Leo Leclerc.
He is the newest baby in the Formula One world. I would die for him. I would take a bullet for him. I would cover up his murders, because he seems so vicious. In case anyone is confused, Leo Leclerc is a cute little dachshund puppy. And he has been the one in all of Charles's photos getting a little bit cradled or held. And he is just the cutest little thing. I love dogs so much. And like I was talking to Emily, I was like, who would make awesome siblings? Ruffles and Ruffles and Leo.
Funny thing about that is that Mary has 2 dogs. I was like, not you just excluding your other dog. I love Leo so much. I would die to pet him. I don't understand what Charles is doing though. He's holding the little puppy like it's a purse. But he's holding it so strangely, and he's like resting the puppy on his hip and holding it in every photo. And I'm just so confused. I'm like, I feel like usually when you hold a dog, you hold them in like the crook of your arm, but he's like holding it at his hip, and I am just so baffled. And he's just like walking around with the puppy. I mean, I would too. And my prediction is that now that Charles has Leo, we will see Roscoe coming back to the grid next year more often, and we will get Roscoe and Leo content because I did notice on like the same day or like the day after we found out about Leo Leclerc, who was very active on Instagram, Roscoe.
Roscoe. Yeah. I find it so hilarious that Charles is trying to be a little bit manlier about holding Leo in like at the bottom, whereas his girlfriend Alex, she's carrying Leo like I don't have something to pretend, but like she's holding him up here like this and she's like cuddling him. It's just too very different ways of handling this puppy. And one of the biggest questions I have is this Charles's baby or is it Charles and Alex's baby? Because if it's just his, then, it's fine. But does this mean that they are getting more serious than we anticipated? Because having a dog together is a huge commitment.
It is a big deal. I would love to know. I would think it's probably just his dog. Just because, Mr. Leclerc is a serial monogamist, but he doesn't stay in relationships for too long. So I would hope he wouldn't decide to get a puppy with someone. But I imagine she'll be spending a lot of time with Leo because someone's going to need to watch him while Charles is driving the car. But I hope that Leo's coming to every single race. And we do need to know if they have joint custody of Leo because I don't know if we can keep simping over someone that has a child with someone. Like, that's a big deal.
I know. That's the only reason why I want to know, because if they are more serious, then I'm going to feel extremely uncomfortable, putting all of my flirtatious vibes out there. Just last episode, I said I wished that I was ice cream so this man could be obsessed with me. If it
Mhm.
is the fact and truth that they are in a serious relationship, I don't want to do that. Like, that just gives me the ick. I'm cringing at myself.
Speaking of ice cream, he did drop the flavors, and I wanted to read them to you because they sound so good. He had the little launch party, I think, because I
Yes.
saw Alex and Leo there. So the ice cream flavors are vanilla, chocolate crunch, peanut caramel tango, swirly pistachio exclamation point, and salty caramel. They all sound amazing. Which one would you like to try the most?
Honestly, the pistachio flavored one, but I am with Charles in that vanilla is probably the most classic flavor that you could ever have. It is the safest choice, but it is also the most delicious choice. Also, I can't get over the fact that like Charles in the one video said vanilla. And I was like, ooh, I too love vanilla.
I think I'd have to go with salted caramel. I'm a hoe for salted caramel. I watched this whole it was a very long video of these two Italian girls taste testing every flavor, and I didn't understand a word that they were saying, but I knew that they liked it. I could tell,
You could,
and
it's
I really enjoyed it.
ice cream is a universal language. You don't need to understand what they're saying to understand that that was their favorite flavor.
Yeah, it's starting to really hurt my feelings that it's only available in Italy because I really would like to try it. And I hope that we get it in the US at some point. Like, even if I have to drive to Whole Foods in New York City
Yeah,
to try it, I will.
I know. But this just means that now, instead of just Monaco to watch the Grand Prix, we're going to have to go to Italy really quick.
Oh my gosh, we're actually going to have to go on the whole tour of Europe for all the things that are F1 related. I noticed that you're wearing some new merch today.
I am wearing new merch, and it is actually my all-time favorite merch from Formula One. I'm considering getting this in the other color as well. Feels like it just feels it just feels like the coziest little thing. I could wear it anytime, anywhere. Like, it just feels like a warm hug, and it's cropped and it has thumb holes. And the best part about this is that it fits me, and I don't have to worry about like male sizing or unisex sizing. Let's just take a quick moment for Mercedes to come out with merch that is inclusive of all of their fans. Because honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Mercedes. I'm more so a Lewis Hamilton fan. But in this past month or so, I have worn probably the most Merc merch I've ever had, ever, just because of how comfortable and like how fitting it is.
I love that. I feel like for me to buy anything that I like the way it fits, it has to come from Etsy. I tried to buy like a Ferrari long sleeve crew neck. It wasn't really like a sweater, but it wasn't really like a shirt. It was like kind of in between from Puma. And that was very expensive. And it was definitely made for men because like I had to size up a few sizes to have it fit like my hip area. But then the shoulders were like weirdly very baggy and not in that cute, like off the shoulder way. It was like just weird because it was like tight in the bicep area, but then it was like baggy up here and it just looks really weird. I mean, I can hide it with my hair, but I don't wear it a lot because it fits weird and then it's like also like skin tight. So you can't like crop it and try to make it like a cute oversized look. So I wish more places were doing what Merck is doing with their merch, more teams, I mean, because fangirls are taking over the sport and we need merch that matches accordingly. Like they're missing out on so much revenue here because we're all just like going to Etsy and buying like small business made stuff and they could be making so much money. Like you said, you just bought all this stuff from Mercedes. They're not even your favorite team just because you're like, oh, this is actually like is made for a woman.
Yes. Yes. And they actually are losing out on so much revenue. I was talking to a handful of people that love Formula One, and I think they only just recently, like this person is a man, but they only just recently purchased a little thing from Ferrari. And I'm like, oh, I literally just purchased 5 other things from
Mhm.
Mercedes because 1, they were having a sale, 2, because it fits me, and 3, because it's so cute. So honestly, this is a public service announcement that Formula One teams should be more inclusive with their clothing and their sizing because the fangirls will come and they will snatch it up.
Yeah, and speaking of merch for women, I really think we need F1 Academy merch. It's mind blowing to me that we don't have F1 Academy merch yet. I would do anything to have the purple Pirelli hat that they're wearing on the podiums. I don't even know if you can get the regular Pirelli hat that the F1 drivers wear. Is it yellow or it's black? I don't know. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yes.
Like they always wear on the podium.
Mhm.
I don't even know if you can buy that, but they should make the purple F1 Academy ones available because I would wear it everywhere I go.
Absolutely. I would throw out, no, that's too strong. I would replace a big majority of my Formula One merch closet with Formula One Academy merch just to support the girlies because you know what? We're here for it and I want to see them succeed. And I definitely want to give them more exposure than our Formula One drivers that already get so much exposure.
Yeah, I want to support the girlies. Like, bring on the merch.
Do it. Like Charlotte Tilbury, Elf. Like, that would
Mm,
be a cute collab. I would buy all of that too.
mm. I would buy it immediately. I really would. Should we get into our little fun segment about Carlos as the Bachelor?
Yes. Yes. All right. Imagine this. Carlos Sainz, no drive for 2025. He's looking for the best fit for him. And we have 8 contestants, all vying for his attention and for his signature on that dang contract. So we already know that Ferrari is for sure filled for 2025. And we also know for sure that McLaren has their team all locked in for 2025. That means there are 8 contestants for our Carlos Sainz. We have Red Bull, we have Mercedes, we have Alpine, Aston Martin, maybe, Williams, V Carb, Steak Sauber, and Haas.
Okay. Actually so many more options than I thought we had.
Yes.
Carlos Sainz is truly Formula One's most eligible bachelor right now. He's in a relationship. That's not what I mean. He's the most eligible bachelor in terms of all the teams must want him
Mhm.
because he is the only person who's given us a non Red Bull win in probably 30 races by now.
I
30
think
plus
so.
races, I think.
Yes.
So I think it would be cool if we went through all of the possible contenders for Carlos, what their pitch would be for him, and who's not getting a rose.
Should we start with Haas?
Let's start with Haas. Yeah, let's start with Haas. I think Haas would try to win Carlos over by offering him lifetime free Chipotle. I don't even know if that partnership is still active. However, if it is, they'll try to offer him unlimited lifetime Chipotle. They will let him be like the main driver, and they will let his dad come and take on a personality role similar to Gunther. They might even make him the team principal and let him be like the personality.
Oh, okay. I see your I
You see
see
the
your
vision.
I see the vision.
You're thrown
I
off. I see the thrown off. You're like, I did not think she was going to say that.
I I was like, okay, you put in some thought about this, which is exciting. I think a Haas will definitely give him top priority. He'll be able to build the car in the way that suits his drive. And that is something that I think Carlos has always wanted because he's always been like that secondary driver, always tried to overcome the build and kind of be a little bit more flexible in that way. But with Haas, the world is his oyster. He'll build it just the way he wants. And unlimited Chipotle. I mean, as a Spaniard, I don't know if he really would enjoy that, but
I don't think he would care about unlimited Chipotle.
no.
I mean, I know Chipotle is supposed to be like Hispanic food, not Spanish food, but I don't think they really eat like that in Europe. Like
Mhm.
what do you call that? It's not like fast food, it's like fast casual.
Yeah, 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 I think.
I think. I don't think they
Something
really
like
eat
that.
like that in Europe. Like when I've been to Europe, you always sit down and eat for like 3 hours.
Yes,
So I don't think he would really care about like showing up at a place and being like, "Give me rice, beans, whatever," and then like eating in his car like Americans do.
yes,
So
yes.
he probably wouldn't care. And so for that reason, I'm going to say he would be tempted to go with Haas because he knows he would be the main driver and he would get the priority, but I don't think they're getting his rose.
I don't think he's getting or I don't think Haas is getting his rose either. I think they might have been in the running for a hot minute, like
Mm,
maybe the first night when they're all intermingling and getting to know each other, but then Carlos looks at Sauber, who was going to become
mm,
Audi, and he's like, maybe
mm.
I have a better shot there because that might be a stronger team.
Okay, that's a hot take, actually. Do we have the timeline on when Sauber is going to become Audi?
I think that's in 2026.
Okay.
So there's
Mhm.
2025, there's still going to be Steak Sauber or just Sauber, and then it turns over to Audi.
Okay. Okay. So I think that will be appealing to him because he has family ties to Audi. I believe his
Mhm.
dad drove for Audi. I'm not sure in what series, but that would be kind of cool, full circle moment. I think they also would make him the main driver, I feel. However, the very noticeable downside here is that they suck. like heavily this season with all the engineering issues. They can't even get a tire on with the bolt problem or whatever's going on in their
Yeah.
pit stops. So I think I don't know. I could see this being a hot contender because he knows it's turning into Audi, but I don't know if he would go with it because I don't know if he'd want to have one really terrible year. And there's also no guarantee that Audi will come in and be a good team. Like they might suck. So
True.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're moving on from night one. Like they're getting a rose, and we'll put them in the contender. That's what I think. What do you think?
I think they are going to make it through night one. I'm not sure if they'll make it through the rest of the days, but right now it's TBD.
Okay. 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 So what do you think about Visa Cash App Racing Bulls? How would they sell themselves to our most eligible bachelor, Carlos Sainz?
Okay. Well, they have older Red Bull parts, winning older Red Bull parts, and he doesn't have to be partners with Max Verstappen at that
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some tension between their two families, so having them on separate teams, but potentially be able to do like a Red Bull V carb 1-2. That is appealing. He'll still be the first driver. Might work with Yuki. I feel like if Yuki gets re-signed with V carb, he'll learn a lot from Carlos. And the fact that
Mm-hmm.
they're both kind of a little bit wholesome, like, never mind the fact that Yuki curses like a sailor, but like him outside of the track, he is very like chill and casual. And I think the two of them would get along very well. I know
Mm-hmm.
Yuki would still be super competitive, but I think that'll give Carlos that edge of like, okay, we're in the same car. We have Red Bull parts. I want to be the first driver.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think there's a potential that the V Carb is actually a very good car because we are seeing Yuki pretty consistently getting the points. So I would be interested to see, like, I think Carlos is probably a better driver than Yuki. So I would be interested to see what he could do with the car. I think he'd probably be in the points like every week. I don't know if he'd
Mhm.
be up on the podium like he wants to be, obviously, but he probably wouldn't be like fighting at the back like he would in a Haas or a Sauber.
Exactly.
So it might be appealing to him. But what team were Max and Carlos on together? Was that Toro Rosso?
I think so. Yeah.
So he might see this as like a large step back to like his very first team in F1. I think that
Ooh.
was his very first team. He may be like, this feels like a step backwards. But I
Okay.
think they're better, maybe potentially better than they were when they were Toro Rosso. I don't know. It's really hard to tell because like Daniel's not doing great.
Yeah.
And it's another case of like, is that Daniel or is it the car? So if I were him, I would be having that same thought of like, is it Daniel or is it the car? Do I risk it? Do I go there?
Mhm.
But I think that they would appeal to him by really hyping up the like, we're basically giving you an old winning Red Bull, like come to us and you can be the main driver.
Yes, absolutely. I think VCarb will also stay past day one. They get
Mm,
the rose for that initial round, but we'll see.
we'll see. They're a contender, but I'm not sure if they're sticking around.
Yes. Now,
Yes.
I don't know if Williams is a contender. I feel like he might stay for James Vowles because I think James has a really good head on his shoulders, really enjoy like his strategy and his ability to bring the team together. Maybe not so recently because of the chassis issues and prioritizing Alex. And I think that most like that recency bias, Carlos would be like, no, because I don't want to be put in that situation.
I do think Carlos is a much more established driver than Logan, who would have a very thorough lawyer who would make sure that would literally
True.
never happen to him. I don't know if that would be a concern for him. But again, with Williams, it's kind of like, is it Logan or is it the car? And he may be thinking, I don't know if I can get in the points with this car. I don't know if Carlos wants to live in London
He
because I
does
think
not. Yeah,
they're based in the UK, right? So
I think
that
so.
might not appeal to him. I don't know how they would sell Williams to him. Perhaps just saying he can be the main driver and like the history, like Williams used to be a winning team, but I don't think they're getting his rose.
No, I don't think so. I think both Williams and Haas are out by the first
Yeah,
night.
they're not making it through night one.
Sorry.
Sorry to them.
Aston Martin, though. The
Okay,
fact that
Aston Martin. I'm confused because Aston Martin has been thrown around a lot with the
Mhm.
discussions for Carlos. And I thought that Aston Martin would stop being thrown around once Fernando re-signed this
Yes.
year.
Mhm.
Because I was under the impression that Mr. Lance Strolly Roly Poly Oly has a unlimited contract similar to Charles and Lando, and he just is on Aston Martin forever. But people were saying that Carlos could take Lance's seat, and I'm like, wait, where's that coming from? Is that legit? Can that actually happen? I heard people saying there's a chance that like Lance will leave and go to an endurance series or like IndyCar or something, and then Carlos will take the seat. But like, I don't know. I actually think Aston Martin would be a really good fit for him. However, like they really prioritize Fernando and they just gave Fernando that, unlimited contract vibe. So I don't know if they would take another really good driver when they're clearly really prioritizing Fernando and think that he's really great. So I think he would maybe be hesitant because he would say, I don't think I'll be the main driver here, but I would love it. I would love content from the two of them. I would love having a Spanish team. Like that would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. And I honestly don't know how I feel about that because I think, like, if Lance ends up deciding that he no longer wants to be in Formula One, I think that's a bigger discussion with his dad, Lawrence, because I know Lawrence is quite competitive, but I got the vibe and there were rumors that he like bought a Formula One team so that he could help nurture his son, which, I know Lance is a pretty good driver as well, but it doesn't hurt that daddy is able to say, yeah, we're going to keep
Mhm.
Lance and you can do nothing about it. But if Lance decides to, hightail it to another place. I feel like Aston Martin might make the cut in night one just because Lawrence Stroll has put a lot of money in the Formula One team. I think right now there's talks about them trying to get a contract with Adrian Newey to build them an awesome car. So they are extremely dedicated to getting a winning team, a winning car, a winning formula, if you will.
Mhm.
And I know. So I think that there is possibly room to prioritize the both of them, both Fernando and Carlos, but I don't know if their driving styles are the same. I think Carlos is extremely strategic and he weighs the pros and the cons while he's driving. Whereas Fernando, he's also strategic, but he drives like he has nothing to lose.
Mhm.
And I don't know if those two types of styles would actually mesh well together. I think it would be a bit conflicting. So I think Aston Martin stays the night, but verdict is still out if
Mhm.
Carlos would actually say yes.
Yeah, I think they're getting a rose night one, but I think Carlos is like, there might be some red flags here. So I need to
Ooh.
explore further. But it's an appealing option to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Alpine, I think, is out.
I don't even think we have to discuss what Alpine could
No.
pitch to Carlos. I think it's just like a no. I think they get out of the limo night one, and Carlos as the Bachelor is like Alpine. No,
Yeah.
don't even come in the mansion.
He's talking to Chris Harrison and he's like, "Can you get Alpine out the door like right
Yeah.
now? I want nothing to do with them. I don't want to waste their time and I don't want to waste mine. Let's just change it to 7 contestants instead of 8."
Yeah, he's like, no.
There, there's just too much going on at Alpine.
Yeah, sorry, Alpine. We're not even gonna humor that one.
No, sorry. Mercedes, though.
I think Mercedes is the most likely contender, but it's not who I'm rooting for. It's making me think of, this is like a niche reference. I don't know if you watched this season of The Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay's season.
Oh, I
I
think I
know you
did.
watched Nick Viall's season with Corinne, but for those of you who don't watch, in The Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay had a season where she came down to 2 people, Peter and Brian, and her and Peter had this like insane chemistry, and everybody thought she was going to pick him, but he wasn't sure if he was ready to propose. He was like, I would rather we end and date. And so she went with Brian, who was like the more stable, secure choice, but it seemed less exciting because there was like less passion there. And her and Peter's breakup had everybody sobbing and crying. And so I'm kind of grouping our next 2 and our last 2 options into this story because I think Mercedes is the Brian and Red Bull is the Peter. And I think that Carlos would be really likely to want to go to Mercedes because I think it's like a safe option. They're a good team. They'd probably, I don't know if they prioritize him over George, but they'd probably at least get equal precedence.
Mhm.
And they have history. Toto's really great. And he probably wouldn't have to be there that long. I feel like I'm hearing rumors all over social media that it's in the final talks of the contract for him to go there. But I think it's boring. And that's how everybody felt when Rachel picked Brian. We were like, okay, fine.
Yes, because Mercedes seems safe, but at the same time, they're not really giving us that excitement or that pizzazz or the butterflies in your stomach when
Mhm.
they're racing. George is really hustling and he's understanding the car a little bit better, but Lewis, he's not willing to well, I'm sure he's working as hard as possible, but he's not pushing as much because he needs to have that feeling of control with the car, and that car seems uncontrollable in the sense that obviously if you want to turn it better fucking turn, but I don't know, nothing about Mercedes is really exciting this season, and kind of the previous season as well. It's safe because it's such a well-known team and they are known to be in the top. However, they are really struggling right now to make it to the top. Like they're kind of mid-tier this season. And if Carlos was to sign with Mercedes, I feel like his future would be uncertain. And it might he might as well go with Haas or VCarb or Sauber.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just, I don't think the Mercedes is that good anymore.
Sorry.
I
I
know
think
everybody's like, he's going to Mercedes. And I'm like, are we preying on his downfall? Like, how is this man who's getting on the podiums, like, pretty often going to Mercedes, who hasn't been on a podium since Lewis in Singapore, I think?
yeah, right? Yeah.
I think so. And that was like a weird situation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it's like a good car, but I think everybody thinks he's going to go there. And apparently the contract is nearly done. So I don't know. It feels boring. Like driver swap. Cool. Cute.
Yes. Like convenient, easy,
Yeah.
but not exciting.
Yeah. They're getting a rose.
Yes, they are. You know what would be exciting though? Red Bull. I think history aside between him and Max, Red Bull, seeing Carlos and Max again together in a winning car, that's butterflies. That's like sparks flying. We'll see a lot of overtaking, I feel like.
Red Bull is the chemistry. Red Bull is the charisma. Red Bull is the Peter on Rachel Lindsay's season. Red Bull is the Maria on the most recent season with Joey. Red Bull would be so exciting and fun and fresh and really cool. And like, I don't like Red Bull. I'm not a Red Bull fan at all. They're like, I don't like them as a team. I don't like their drivers. I don't want to have to start buying Red Bull merch just because I love Carlos Sainz. But I think Carlos Sainz in a Red Bull could go head to head with Max Verstappen, and we would not be bored. I think the car will continue to be amazing next year. And even though we're getting a little bit of competition this year, I think Carlos is probably a better driver than Checo and would consistently be like actively fighting Max for wins, and we would be eating it up.
Yeah. And Carlos is the it girl.
No, you're right, though, that Carlos is the it girl. He is the it girl of Formula One right now. And unfortunately, as much as I don't like them, Red Bull is the it team.
Mhm.
And I just think he should go there. I'm bored of Checo. The Checo fans are going to hate me for saying this, but like, I'm bored. Your car's amazing. You should be in second or first every single week. I'm
Yep.
bored.
Yes. Red Bull's getting a rose. Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston, V-Carb, and Sauber move on to the next round.
Mm,
But
okay.
I think V-Carb and Sauber might be out at the next ceremony.
I think they're out at the next ceremony. I think he put a lot of thought into it, and he gives them like a little speech, and he's like, "It's not you, it's me," but
I
really, it's
do
you.
something better.
I think they're both just like a step back, and I
Yes.
think going to Sauber would be a easy transition into Audi, but we don't know for sure if Audi's even going to be good. So I don't know. And I've heard that the ties between Audi and Carlos's dad aren't even that strong. Like he didn't race for them that long. So I don't know. I think they're both out.
I think so too. Carlos is ready for his next era to come, and that era is not to try and hustle in a car that won't give him the power that he's looking for. And
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, I think Red Bull, Mercedes, and Aston Martin are the super top contenders. I think ultimately, though, Aston gets kicked off. Like they don't get a rose at the next ceremony just because they've already signed with Fernando, and there's a possibility that Lance will get re-signed as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Carlos deserves that. I think Carlos really needs a team that will prioritize him, which makes
Yeah.
it hard because we want him to go to Red Bull and we want the sparks and we want we want that sexy experience, that fun experience.
Yeah, I think hometown dates is Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston Martin. Aston Martin is getting sent home at the end of hometown dates. They tried to woo him, but he was there and he was like, I just don't see myself here. I don't see myself fitting in. It's just not the vibe. Also, the only way he's going to Aston Martin is if Lance is gone, and I don't feel confident that Mr. Stroll will continue on without Lance, and I think they'd lose majority of their funding.
Yeah.
So they're out. I think they were a bigger contender before Fernando re-signed.
Yes,
And
100%.
then we're out to our dramatic final two. This is really giving Rachel Lindsay's season of The
It
Bachelor
really is.
with Red Bull versus Mercedes. And the fans want Red Bull. We're like, please, please give us Red Bull. It's fire, it's drama, it's chemistry. We need it. But ultimately, Carlos is like, I don't know. I've driven with Max before. I don't really want to do it again. Apparently, Jos Verstappen and Carlos Sainz Sr. don't get along and would not vibe together on a team setting again. And I think Carlos is like, it's just too much drama, and I'm just going to go with the safe option, and he goes to Mercedes.
I agree. And I think it does have something to do with Red Bull prioritizing Max as well. I don't know if their driving styles match up. It would be so great for Red Bull to have both Max and Carlos, because I think that is a confirmed and guaranteed Red Bull 1-2. However, like, Carlos has done the secondary driver. He's supported all of his team members. And at this point, he wants to be the leader, and he wants to continue being the strategist, and he wants to continue not holding back. And Mercedes is probably the best bet because he can shine at Mercedes. And I know George is teed up to become the team leader, but we all know Carlos is probably a little bit stronger of a driver than George, just because of the strategy.
And I don't think, similar to every single person on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, I don't think this is a forever choice and they're going to break up within a year. But it's a good choice for right now, and he's going to make it and chill. And I don't think he'll get a long-term contract. I don't think Carlos is one of those lifers, like how Max is just going to be at Red Bull until forever, and Lando's going to be at McLaren until forever, and is going to be at Ferrari forever. I think Carlos is a jumper. He's going to try out different teams, and he's going to slay at every team he goes to. And so I think he'll go to Mercedes for maybe 1 to 2 years, maybe go to Audi when they join the grid. And that's that.
Yeah. I mean, we're not happy about the Mercedes move, but everything that we're hearing does also tee up to Mercedes. And I think that's just the consensus. And I think, I don't know, he might be happy there for the time being. Carlos and George would be so cute. Imagine the double dates and everything.
The old money vibes.
Yes.
Double dates at the Masters.
Oh my gosh.
Triple dates with Toto and Susie.
They're going to be cute together. Even the little team videos before the races. Oh my gosh. That would be so sick.
It's going to be one hot team, George, Carlos, and Toto.
Yes.
I mean, you can't, like, after having Lewis Hamilton, the hottest human being alive on the team for so long, you can't just, like, send in someone mediocre looking. So
no.
It would make sense. And you know who else would be really, really happy if Carlos goes to Mercedes? You, because you just bought all this Mercedes merch.
Okay, that's so valid. I was like, yes, I would continue to live in this. I would get another of the quarter zips in a different color.
Buying all the Mercedes merch. And I would rather buy Mercedes merch than Red Bull merch.
That's so true.
So,
any other final thoughts on Carlos, our most eligible Bachelor driver, any of the contestants?
I don't think so. I think we came to the safe conclusion as well.
It was a fun exercise, though, and it was actually super cute to consider them vying for our dear Carlos's attention.
Yes. And I'm excited for next week. We'll be in China. I mean, we won't be in China. F1 will be in China. And I'm excited because it'll be our first time watching a Chinese GP. So very cool to see. I'm not thrilled about the time because it is like 4 a.m. So I've been debating if I am actually going to watch live or if I may just try to put my phone on absolute lockdown and just watch when I wake up. So we shall see. I think I'm going to end up having FOMO and not want to miss it live. So I probably will destroy my sleep schedule to watch it live.
Well, if you do that, you're going to celebrate Zhou Guanyu driving at his home race.
Oh,
that is probably that is probably the only reason why I'm so excited and why I really want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to root for him because honestly, it's been a long time coming. I hope he does super well. And I hope that the Sauber team has been continuing to practice those pit stops. I hope they've solved the bolt problems on their tires and their wheels. But I am absolutely here for Zhou Guan Yu to just kill it and do the best he can.
Manifesting Joe in the points.
Zhou Guan Yu in the points. All right. Well, that is all from me. We will check you guys out the next time. And this gives you 2 more weeks. All of you guys that are procrastinating to read Redeemed, the last book in the Dirty Air series. I actually really loved it. I read through it in about 3 days. So I hope you guys will also feel a little bit invested and attached to that book as well.
Yes, we have a fun next few weeks ahead on our podcast in the F1 world. So, as always, happy to have you all here, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye, F1 world.
No, not yet, not yet.
Oh no, I'm saying like bye for today.